Singapore, a significant number of households and workers are facing a monthly cash flow squeeze, where their total expenses and debt repayments actually exceed their take-home pay. Recent estimates suggest that roughly 150,000 to 300,000 resident households, about 10% to 20% of all resident households, are likely spending more than they earn each month. For workers, the numbers are even more striking. Around 1 to 1.5 million individuals, or 40% to 60% of the workforce, are living paycheck to paycheck, with their monthly spending matching or exceeding their disposable income. These figures highlight a growing concern about financial vulnerability, especially among lower-income groups and younger workers who are more likely to feel financially stretched. To arrive at these estimates, analysts rely on a combination of official statistics, household expenditure surveys, and financial wellness polls. The Singapore Department of Statistics reports about 1.463 million resident households in 2024. Surveys and reports consistently show that the bottom 10–20% of households are most at risk, with expenditures and debt repayments outpacing their income. Workers, private surveys reveal that 40–60% feel financially stretched or live paycheck to paycheck. By applying these percentages to the total workforce, we get a plausible range for those under financial stress. These calculations are based on broad assumptions, as there's no single official figure for households or workers whose outgoings exceed their disposable income. Instead, the estimates reflect a careful synthesis of available data and behavioral proxy. Let's break down the numbers further. The average Singaporean household spends about $5,931 per month on goods and services, while the median monthly household income is $11,297. However, when debt repayments are added, often $1,000 to $2,000 more for indebted households, the financial strain becomes clear, especially for those in the lower income decile. Calculations show that in the bottom 30% of households, 30% to 50% may be overspending, leading to an estimate of 130,000 to 220,000 households in this situation. For workers, if 40% to 60% are paycheck to paycheck and 20% to 30% of them overspend, the estimate ranges from 200,000 to 440,000 individuals. These numbers align with broader survey findings and illustrate the scale of the issue. Charts and tables make the cash flow squeeze even more visible. Visual summaries show that nearly all households overspending are concentrated in the bottom two income deciles, accounting for almost 10% of all resident households. These visuals compare income, expenditure, and debt repayments by decile, highlighting how lower-income groups face persistent negative cash flow. Data-driven approach, using household expenditure surveys and debt indicators, provides a clear picture of the financial challenges faced by many Singaporeans. It's a reminder that while aggregate finances may look healthy, vulnerable segments continue to struggle with monthly outgoings that exceed their income. Summary: the best estimates suggest that around 170,000 households and 300,000 workers in Singapore are consistently spending more than they earn, with the majority of overspending concentrated among lower-income groups. However, these figures come with important caveats: the lack of precise microdata, variations in debt servicing, and the difference between temporary and persistent overspending. Surveys on financial stress don't always map exactly to overspending, but they do highlight the widespread sense of financial vulnerability. Ultimately, while Singapore's overall financial health remains strong, these numbers underscore the importance of targeted support for those most at risk of falling behind.